Hi, it's Keith Peterson again from the Eardley T. Peterson Company in Westfield, New Jersey. We'd like to show you this afternoon Sebo vacuum cleaners. We have several models in view. Sebo is a German vacuum manufacturer. They specialize in commercial upright vacuums. They're the world's largest manufacturer in respect to that category. But they make exceptionally fine domestic vacuums, uprights, and canisters. So this is what we'd like to show you today. This is a compact K-series Sebo. This is the same type of machine, but without a motorized brush assembly. Over here is Sebo's top of the line residential canister vacuum. We only stock machines like this with motorized brushes. They do come with traditional nozzles. We carry it in the motorized brush design, which is preferable for people who have any amount of carpet. And this then we will get to is a residential upright and a commercial upright. The key to a properly engineered vacuum, and we have many other videos in respect to this, we sell in the vacuum industry the high quality machines. These are machines made in Germany and Italy, names like Miele, Lindhaus, Sebo. The bulk of the equipment manufactured today is made in Asia, and the overall quality is not nearly consistent with what the German and Italian manufacturers produce. The most important benefit to a properly engineered vacuum is that the component parts, the housings, the channels, are engineered to be 100% airtight. If that is in place, the machine is able to retain particles down to tiny critical micron sizes. If the housings are not sealed in this way, the pressure internally in the vacuum will force these small particles out of the machine. Now, these can't be seen, of course. We're talking literally bacteria-sized particles, dust mite allergens, and so on. But it's critical to retain them because they're present in the environment in extremely high numbers. The vacuuming process is removing hundreds of millions of micron-sized particles per minute. From a health perspective, it's necessary to keep those inside the machine. So without airtight components, the pressure then will force these small particles out. So the negative, obviously, to that is you're taking particulate out of the carpet, the upholstery, the floor, wherever you're vacuuming, and you are literally filling the air with these particles. So this is the first step. Now, the air has to leave the vacuum at some point, so the manufacturer will put an appropriate filter at that juncture, and that will then retain residual particles. So the end result being the air coming back into the room is clean and healthy. It will actually be cleaner and healthier than the air that's likely to be present in the room. There's also concerns as to longevity. How long will the vacuum last? The average machine today, an Asian vacuum cleaner, is lasting 6 months, a year, 2 years, maybe 3 years. They just don't last very long because the concern in terms of engineering is not present. So a well-engineered vacuum will last typically 15, 20 years or maybe more. So while there's an additional investment at the beginning, that investment accrues back at the other end more than substantially. Then there's ease of use factors. Obviously, any tool that's properly engineered is going to work well and be as easy to use as possible. And this, of course, is included with a vacuum cleaner. So you want a machine that's smooth, you want it quiet, you want it to be sealed, you want it to last. And our customers come back with vacuums of this caliber and they say this is the best vacuum I've ever owned. They should say that, and they do. We've been in the vacuum business 68 years. There's been a huge change in the way vacuums are manufactured. 50 years ago, an upright vacuum could be made in this country and it would give probably 15, 20, 25 years of service, maybe more. Was not a wonderful machine, but appliances were durable. Today, everything is very close to throwaway. So let me start by showing you a compact Sebo. This is our most popular Sebo canister vacuum cleaner. You can see the compact size lends itself to ease of use, not only in the usability of it, the storage of it, and so forth. Any well-engineered canister has independent swivel caster wheels so that the machine is very mobile as it's being used. These are rubber tires. You can pull this on a polished wood floor, it won't make any marks. Interestingly enough, the air exhausts out of this vacuum throughout the bumper system. This is a soft material, and I can feel little holes here as I run my fingers down the bumper. So it creates an air cushion, and if the furniture is impacted or the walls, you will not leave marks and damage anything. The hose is a crush-proof hose. Any well-engineered vacuum should have that type of hose. So the hose, and we're not giving you license to abuse the hose, but you can see the hose could be stepped on. You could probably drive a car over it and it would be fine. All right, so when a hose attaches to a vacuum, you want a locking system. So on a properly engineered vacuum, the hose system is important, especially if there's a motorized brush. The vacuum is being moved around typically by the hose. You're pulling it, you're moving. The hose needs to be durable. As we've just shown you, this is a crush-proof. You could step on this hose, step back by mistake. It doesn't matter, it will not negatively impact the hose. When the hose is attached to the vacuum, you need it to lock in solidly. Now, especially with motorized brush heads on canister vacuums, the electricity to run the motor in this brush is being carried from a wiring harness that's internal in the vacuum, and there's an electrical socket here, an electrical plug here. When all these connections are made, they have to be stable so that they lock in effectively. If that doesn't happen, the pushing and pulling and the vacuuming movement is going to cause movement with these electrical connections. They're going to wind up shorting each other out. They'll burn out. And it's not unusual for someone to bring us a basic quality vacuum and tell us they've had it 2 years, and they find now when they push forward, the motorized brush runs. When they pull back, it stops. The contacts are already losing integrity. They'll need a hose, they'll need a wand. The vacuum's not worth fixing, it gets thrown out. So when this locks into place, it locks into place 100%. And you've got spade contacts here that fit into an appropriate receptacle. This has no movement. We can push and pull this vacuum, there's no movement. When we plug the hose into the wand, the same type of design principles are in place. There's a big deep notch, there's a big button, you've got a rigid plug, it fits into a rigid socket. So when we make a connection, it's easy to make the connection, it's easy to remove. We can take any accessory, for example, dust brush at our fingertips, we can do what we wish to do. But when we plug back in, we make the connection again. So easy to connect, easy to remove. At the bottom, we have the same design. There's one button, the wand comes out, the same type of rigid connections take place at the bottom, the big notch, the big button, it locks in very solidly. So nobody brings us machines of this caliber and says, you know, we have problems, power tools running off and on, the hose, the connections. It just doesn't happen. So that's very, very nice. The wand is fully adjustable. As you can see, it's telescopic. Stainless steel. Quality vacuums use stainless steel wands in this type of setup. The cheaper machines use typically aluminum. They can very quickly bend and wind up with issues. So this now gives us the proper connection. We have a release on the back. The handle comes down. Sebo has designed this vacuum so when the handle stands up, it shuts the brush down. The concept is you're getting ready to do something else. It may take a second or two. You don't want that brush spinning away on the carpet. As soon as we lower the handle, the brush turns back on. You'll see that. There's a height adjustment on this nozzle, And Sebo has taken this nozzle design, they've migrated it from their commercial upright. It's one of the best nozzle designs in the business. We have no problems with them. The brush slides out for cleaning, which is important. It has a permanent belt. This is designed so there is a on-off switch on top of the vacuum cleaner. This light is green. It shows the machine is getting power. And then as I advance a slide switch here on the handle, I can modify the engine speed and therefore the cleaning power. So this is full power, and we can bring it down, light dusting, draperies. Normally, cleaning rugs or bare floors, you want full power to give yourself full cleaning ability. Let me move this back a little. It's fine to move it away in that fashion. Let's plug into here. When I drop this handle, the motorized brush commences operation. There's a green light, shows us everything is working properly. Beautiful brushing action. We can swivel, get down under furniture. This extended piece lets us clean around table and chair legs without moving the table. So if this is a table leg, typically we can come around it and clean without having to shift that. When we do a bare floor, the current model series on this machine has an additional switch at the end of the hose. This is a slightly older floor sample model. It doesn't have that. But on the current model, when we get to the floor, we can hit that switch, shut the spinning brush down. This has rubber tires on the bottom. Again, we can clean even a highly polished bare floor without making any marks. The best way to clean a bare floor is use a bristled bare floor brush. So that brush with the bristles simply snaps onto the bottom, and we now have a perfect way to clean bare floors. The bristles sweep the cracks and crevices. It's a nice open intake. If you have to vacuum Cheerios in the kitchen, they're not going to get caught and lodged in the intake. This is a wonderful design because any vacuum that has a spinning brush is subject to difficulty in that the brush is spinning, it's gathering hair and thread, it's winding around the brush, and the end result is it'll travel off the ends into the bearings of the brush, stiffen up the action, and you'll wind up having problems. So Sebo, recognizing this, has a design feature which is found on their commercial uprights, and at this point it says press. If I press and hold it, the end cap swivels, and by that we can remove the end cap, and then the brush itself just releases and slides out. We need no tools to do this. We can thoroughly clean not only the body of the brush, but the ends where the bearings are. Slide it back into position, and the end cap with the bearing locks back into place. There's a clean out port, so if something is picked up that really shouldn't be, a wad of paper or whatever that gets caught, this little clean out port facilitates removing that. There's a height adjustment. Most or many vacuums today don't have any adjustment on the nozzle. It's called universal height adjustment, which is a euphemism for no adjustment. The nozzle just flops on the carpet. This way you can tune this, raise it up and down to different pile carpets, which is preferable. When it's time to empty this vacuum, all properly engineered vacuums, all the top machines utilize bag systems. And the reasoning is very simple. The first mechanism to capture and control particulate is the bag. If the bag is eliminated out of the vacuum, it becomes typically very dirty to empty. The internals of the vacuum are assailed with fine particles that normally would be kept in a bag, and it will decrease the life of the vacuum. So this is a very simple design. There's a latch here. The door folds down. The bag is installed into a carriage, and every bag comes with a cap that can be placed over the mouth of the bag, And this is a micron bag, which is important. You want a bag that filters as well as possible on its own. And this bag then can be sealed. That little cap fits on. We can throw the bag in the kitchen trash with no problem. Each bag comes with one of these brackets. This bracket has a set of arrows. It tells you the bag installs into the carriage this way. And then when this lid is shut again on the bottom of this machine, there are two flanges that contact two arms, and this carriage moves. The vacuum takes the bag and moves the carriage up and holds and installs the bag. So we'll get someone in here where they put a bag in properly into a vacuum, used it for a month, and find when they go to empty it, the entirety of the inside of the machine is full of dirt. The bag came off, it's in the motor, it's throughout the container. This is precluded with this design. It cannot happen. Directly after the bag is a Filtrete hospital grade filter, and that filter ensures that any particulate leaving the bag down to these critical sizes is being retained. In addition to that, the motor air, the air going in through the motor, is being cleaned. Very, very important. So you've got a filtration and dirt containment design that enhances the ability of the machine, or makes sure the machine is going to keep the air clean. Because a motor is making pollutants, the carbon brushes are constantly emitting carbon particles as they disintegrate. There's another similar filter after the motor just to capture carbon particles. So the end result is you've got very thorough filtration, sealed system, containment of particles. And there's no question when someone uses vacuums of this caliber that they have mentally the assurance that they're cleaning their house to a very high cleaning level, but everything is staying inside the vacuum, which is absolutely terrific. Thank you for listening, and you can contact us at www.etpetersen.com. You can call us at 908-232-5723.